We're happy enough to have the City of Heroes team up here. They've been partying it up all week. They've been going road to New York, I hear, so that's what they were doing. Anyways, I'd like to turn it over to the team now so they can do the presentation and also take some of your questions from fans. So Tia, come on up and you guys can get started. Thanks again.
Welcome to all of you to our panel entitled City of Heroes Member, taking comic book MMOs to the next level. We're going to jump straight in. I'm going to introduce myself and our esteemed panelists here. I'm Tia Fado, and I'm the community representative at Paragon Studios and will be your panel moderator today. I'm sorry if I'm shaking a little bit, this is my first panel, so be nice. So to my far right is David Noble Savage Nakayama, our lead. Next to him is Melissa Bianco. Last but not least, Jessica Spa from Caceres.
Okay, so what I'd like to do for the audience, because many of you have probably played City of Heroes, but there may be some of you who have never played City of Heroes before. So what I'm going to do is go over the City of Heroes franchise prior to our most recent expansion release, which was Going Rogue. So, pre-Going Rogue times. In 2004, we launched a game called City of Heroes for the PC platform. It was a game that was very innovative in the MMORPG space. It's a massively multiplayer online game. Players reveled in the fact that they could become a super-powered hero and fly, super jump, teleport, and leap. In 2005, 18 months later, we released a game, the standalone expansion City of Villains. And in that game, players could now create their own villains. They could create masterminds, stalkers, and just be, revel in the fact that they could be evil and not just be heroic. But at the end of the day, it was a game that was divided. Our community, argued in our forums quite frequently about, which was better, a hero or a villain. You couldn't take that character that you invested hundreds or thousands of hours in and take that to the opposite faction. So, City of Heroes Going Rogue, the expansion, solves that. It's the bridge that connects both products. So now a hero can become a villain, and a villain can become a hero. And we'll go into a little bit later. We'll go into how we achieve that. So in City of Heroes and City of Villains, one of the things was there was limited interaction between both factions. The only place that heroes and villains could meet were in PvP zones. And that, that compatibility. Well, we subsequently later released co-op zones, but initially it was just player versus player combat, and that, wasn't always fun. So with City of Heroes Going Rogue, we allowed players to move their characters to either side. In 2004, 2005, we introduced players new to massively multiplayer online games with what we thought would be a good basic tutorial. And in 2005, fast forward, or 2005 with City of Villains, we kind of improved upon it, but it wasn't as a great of an experience as it possibly could be. So when we released the expansion Going Rogue, we actually created a new parallel universe and walked players through a new player experience. We essentially reinvented the game and took the concepts of like what good and evil were, turned it upside down, and took the concept of what was heroic or villainous, and just kind of made it more gray.
I think one of the cool things, sorry to interrupt you, I think one of the cool things that we did too with the tutorial is, if you're a veteran and you know how to walk forward and you know how to hit a button and fight things, we give you the option just to kind of jump right into the mission and just go straight to it, whereas before we'd sort of, drag you through the WASD and all that kind of stuff. So you kind of had the opportunity to, like I said, just play the mission right away. And for those of you who are experiencing Pretoria for the first time, we give you an opportunity to really learn about the lore of Pretoria, because this is a completely new universe. So if you wanted to find out that extra information about Pretoria, we give that to you. But it was all optional text. You didn't have to necessarily read it. You could just jump right to the mission.
Yeah, I mean, so we reduced the walls of text that sometimes overwhelm players when they enter into the game, because it's not just the controls they have to learn, it's also about the history. We made more contextual information instructions so that players could just move from one point to another. We reduced travel time from the beginning starting experience to the mission door, so players didn't have to go through like a random far area. And we introduced the concept of factions, which we'll talk about later. And David?
Well, as you guys have all experienced, or maybe if you're new to the game and haven't, we just had a massive graphical upgrade in City of Heroes Going Rogue with issue 17. We call this Ultra Mode, and that includes a whole suite of cool effects like real-time shadows, the cube map reflections to see on player characters and on the world, especially Praetoria, and ambient occlusion, which is a much more realistic shadowing technique, among many other things. We've also just added a support for NVIDIA SLI, which means that you can run 2 video cards at once and get full frame rate. That's for you, Joseph.
So essentially, I guess the whole point of this this panel is taking superhero MMOs to the next level. With City of Heroes.
By the way, I promise I did not come up with that title. That was not me. I made a promise to you guys. I said I'd never say it again. It wasn't me.
So good versus evil. I mean, so we introduce our players to just choosing to create a hero or choosing to create a villain. We've done that. We've been there. But with what we've learned from launch, I mean, now we're 6 years strong. With the Going Rogue expansion, is that we have an opportunity. We had an opportunity to make the product more mature, add a level, an additional layer that just allows players to explore the shades of gray between what's right and wrong. Make them question, is good and evil really good and evil? And later on I'll talk about like some amazing statistics that we found in post-Going Rogue launch. I think we've been very successful in allowing players to really choose.
So the really cool thing with this is, in the history of comic books, you start off with, pure good Boy Scout heroes and mustache-twisting villains. And, Alan Moore comes along and Frank Miller in the 80s and completely redefined, the depth and complexity of a superhero story. So what Going Rogue does is that same thing, but in the video game format. This actually introduces the moral complexity and the non-linear and actually interesting to adult, content that you really want in any kind of superhero adventure.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the original cover art for City of Heroes, it was very much kind of emphasized the spandex, some slight armor. But with City of Heroes Going Rogue, as the comic book industry has matured, and so we matured greatly.
I'm older.
And we started when? On
2002.
So it's amazing. So
I have a breadth of wealth of information right in here.
So Melissa started in 2002. I started in 2004. David, you've been with us even before on the comic book side.
Oh well, I guess
yeah. So you've been with us what 2000?
My message board says 2005.
Yeah. So let's talk about the Going Rogue launch. So the Going Rogue launch actually shipped, or was launched on August 17th, Tuesday. But we did a soft launch on August 16th, Monday. And it took some players by surprise, but we primarily did that soft launch because, much like anything, we wanted to ensure server stability. We wanted to make sure that we caught anything so that on our official launch day, we weren't caught, with egg on our face, like, oh, wow, you just launched an expansion and it's all broken. But, amazingly enough, there were no problems. We had no major issues, and we were waiting for that shoe to drop, and it never fell. So on launch day, we were very proud to announce that yes, we had officially launched a City of Heroes Going Rogue expansion, and we had some, and I'll go into this later, about some amazing statistics that we've found from there. So we've received amazing positive feedback from our players as well as from press. Because of the nature of MMOs, it's very hard to deliver accurate reviews without in-depth gameplay, so they've been slowly rolling in, and I'll share some of them with you right now. read these out loud, by the way.
I wasn't done yet. No, I'm just kidding.
So overall, we have